Texas Rangers were in on almost every offseason big name. 78.5 is what Caesar's Palace offers, and I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over. I don't think they'll win the division. Certainly don't think they'll win the World Series, but I think they'll go over the 78.5. And look, a lot of it, once we saw that they pulled off the trade for Corey Kluber to give themselves a strong and a experienced starting rotation member. Look, he gave the Rangers a fully formed veteran rotation, but it also means that their youngsters, Colby Allard, who they got from the Braves, Joe Palumbo, Brock Burke, Taylor Hearn, who was rehabbed, all headed for AAA. And so many of us thought that this pitching staff would develop. So here's what it is: a direct benefit from trading for Corey Kluber and free agents Kyle Gibson and Jordan Lyles. They join the returning duo of Lance Lynn and Mike Minor. Okay, indirectly, it has the benefit is having minor leaguers who must earn their opportunities by outpitching both their opponents and their own teammates. It's a big year for all the minor leaguers. And over the last three losing seasons, opportunities were plentiful because of injuries and ineffectiveness. The Rangers used 38 pitchers to make at least one start. Only Toronto, with 39, had more, and not coincidentally, the Jays are coming off three consecutive losing seasons, and the Rangers used a franchise record 19 starters last season. Allard, who was acquired from Atlanta, made 9 starts. It tied for the 5th most on the club. His velocity jumped up 2 points. He headed into the winter, committing to really get his curveball on track. Hearn made only 1 start before an elbow injury sidelined him for the rest of the season. Palumbo spent the winter adding weight. He put on about 25 pounds, working with a new changeup grip. So watch this kid Palumbo. Okay, the competition for the Rangers pitching rotation is going to be fierce, and they got a lot of bright names breathing down their necks. So what does this mean for the Texas Rangers? The catching department will be headed by Robinson Chirinos. We know that Chirinos, a bona fide 15-home run hitter, pretty good offensive hitter. For Chirinos, I would say that he's going to hit you 15 home runs. Yeah, let's hit 15 home runs. Robinson Chirinos could hit you 15 home runs, but he's a catcher, and he's got some good backup there, so let's not go crazy with Robinson Chirinos. Jeff Mathis could maintain the backup spot, Jose Farino. Ronald Guzman. And we thought that I thought that Donaldson was coming to this team. And Guzman, big kid. Very impressive at the plate, but he's got to do more than he did last year. Now, Guzman, in my opinion, here's my playing line for Guzman. Ronald Guzman, the big, what is he, 6'7", something like that, 6'5", hits you 250, 16 to 20 home runs. He was more interesting to look at this guy than actually to look at his numbers. He hit a modest 235 as a rookie, and he didn't really build on those numbers in the second season. Okay, so I'm looking for him to build here. I'll give him 16 to 20 home runs. He only hit 10 home runs last year with a 219 batting average. He's a big 6'5 player. He looks good. And if he improves, he doesn't need the juice ball. Doesn't need it. Roughneck Odor, I'm told over and over again, he just does not have a concept of how to come up with a way to play the game. 25 years old, third time in 4 years, Odor has hit at least 30 homers, so you know he's got that. He'll hit you, but I think they're losing a little love for this guy. Second time he failed to hit higher than 205 last year. He hit 205. Maybe he'll hit a little bit better. Okay. Last year, he really tried to hit the home run. His strikeout rate jumped from the low 20s to over 30. you could tell what he was doing. He could steal a base. He's a good fantasy player with 20-plus home runs and double-digit steals, but it's all about playing time, and I don't have a lot of confidence that he's going to get it. And why? Nick Solak is right behind him. Now, I'm not going to wait for the Prospect Watch to talk about Solak, but I really believe that Nick Solak is going to be the starting second baseman, okay? And he could hit you about 285. He could hit 15 to 25 home runs. He's 25 years old, 5'10", 180 pounds. Watch out. I think Solak takes the second base job from, I really do. I think he takes the second base job from Roughland Odor. Texas now is trying to win, and they can't handle players who don't know how to play the game, and Odor does not know how to play the game. Elvis Andrus, I think we've seen the best of Elvis Andrus. It doesn't mean that there's still not any good left in Elvis Andrus. I'm looking for Andrus to hit about 275, double-digit home runs, and maybe 20 stolen bases. He had 31 last year. He's 31, so he's knocking it off a little bit. He swiped at least 20 stolen bases in each of his first 9 Major League seasons. Only to drop, he only had 5 stolen bases in 2018, and then last season he topped the 30 stolen base mark. First time since 2013, but still, that's his game, so he will steal you some bases. I'm thinking he'll steal about 20, maybe 25, something like that, between 20 and 25. So he's still got value there. That's what we drafted for. Over at third base on this Texas Ranger team, one of my favorites, Todd Frazier. Don't expect a lot from him, but as a sleeper, and I'm not talking about as a real star sleeper, I'm talking about as a spot filler. Put Todd Frazier at third base, he'll hit you 265, he'll hit you 20-plus home runs, and he may even steal a couple of bases. Okay? He may even steal a couple of bases. So I'm looking for Todd Frazier to say he's not finished. So maybe he hits you 240. Over 20 home runs, steal you a couple of bases. He's 33 years old. He hit last year he hit 251. That was his highest batting average in 4 years, okay, when he was back with New York. So we'll see. But, of course, you take a look at, I don't know how this new ballpark is going to play, but Citi Field certainly was not a blessing to hitters. But Todd Frazier, talking about he's a fill-in pick. When you only want to spend a very limited value and you want some production just to fill the hole. You don't want a dead spot. That's when you draft Todd Frazier. Willie Calhoun. Is he still young, or is he 40 by now? I mean, Willie Calhoun, come on, man. Come on, Willie, do something. He finally may have learned how to play a position, and if Willie Calhoun hits you 270 with 25 homers, that's pretty good. He's 25 now. It took a couple of years after the Rangers traded Yu Darvish to get him. But Calhoun had a breakout year, 20 home runs, 270 batting average. They took advantage of injuries. So we'll see what happens, but pencil him in for 270 batting average, 25 home runs, and that's the way he struggled against lefties. Batting average was 65 points better against righties. 14 of his 21 home runs came off of right-handed pitching, and that's not bad. That's not bad because that's what you face. You face right-handed pitching. In the outfield again, you got Danny Santana. You got Joey Gallo. Shin-Soo Choo on base leagues. You got to remember him. And let's take a look at Danny Santana because all of a sudden, Danny Santana became something. So let's see what Danny Santana has to offer. He could steal a couple of bases, that's for sure. That's what we know about him for sure. But is he really a fantasy player that's really fantasy? All of a sudden, a lot of people liked him. I'm getting Danny Santana at 29 years old. 29 years old to steal 15 bases, to hit 250, and hit 15 home runs. That's it. He had a surprise season last year. He had 28 homers. I'm not buying it. He was one of the biggest fantasy surprises last year. He was a utility man. He was 28 years old. I'm saying he's going to regress big time. Don't spend the extra dollar on Danny Santana. And for Gallo, well, we don't know. We know he's got the pop. We know he's got everything else. He's going to steal you 5 bases. He'll hit you 225. He'll hit you 40 home runs in his sleep. He had the wrist injury, so just be careful. Wrist injuries don't go away. He had an oblique. He had a wrist injury. He was activated, returned to the DL, had a hamate bone, season-ending surgery. Not a guy that I'm keying on for sure. Very dangerous, but he could, look, if Joey Gallo manages to emerge and hit you 40 home runs and get you 100 RBIs and bats 230, you still made the right move by not taking him. It's one of the few players I can say about that, okay? Because chances are it's not going to happen. But it could. But I'm staying away from Joey Gallo. And if he does produce, just say, congratulations, Joey Gallo, you fooled me. Just continuing on with the Texas Rangers, who are 78.5. I'm going to go over because I think their pitching staff will take them over. Kluber, Minor, Lynn, Gibson, and Lyle. That's what's going to take them over. And with Corey Kluber, I don't have to say anything about Minor, Lynn, Gibson, Lyle, but Corey Kluber, last year, the fact that he pitched so little could wind up being sort of a blessing. That this year, he could really take advantage of resting his arm, for lack of better explanation. Who are the guys in the minor leagues? Josh Jung could come up and play some third base to take the spot of Todd Frazier at some point. He's 21 years old. He hit .323 last year. He stole 4 out of 5 bases. Okay, he hit a couple of home runs. He was a first-round pick. Future hot corner guy. He's 21. May or may not make a chance. Leotis Taveras is 21. He hit .279 with 5 homers. Stole 32 out of 45 bases. Another guy, 21 years old, played in Double-A. Leotis Taveras, 32 out of 45 stolen bases. Nick Solak, I told you about, a productive bat. Is going to be very he lacks a position. He doesn't have a real position, but he hit .288 last year, 27 homers, 5 out of 7 stolen bases. He did that, and he already made his debut last year. Sam Huff, nice looking catcher. He's only 22. He had a breakout season in 2019. He's one of the best catching prospects in the game. And there you go. That's the Texas Rangers for you. 78.5. I'm not buying it. I certainly don't think they're going to win a division or a World Series.